Hi everybody, thank you for joining me. My name is Jean Ward. We'll be reviewing the 1989 Kalahari UFO Incident, a case that's been lost to the sands of time, South Africa's Roswell. We'll be analysing an intelligence report leaked to Anthony Dodd in the UK in late 1989. And we'll be checking out the aesthetic details, the locations, bearings, dates and times stated in the report, and we'll be checking out some background and historical information. The sequence of events unfolds as follows. On the 7th of May, an unidentified flying craft is spotted by NORAD on a heading towards South Africa over the Indian Ocean. Subsequently, the craft approaches South African airspace in a northwesterly direction at an incredibly high speed calculated to be 5,746 nautical miles per hour or 10,641 kilometers per hour. At 13:45, naval frigate SAS Tafelberg spots the craft on radar and notifies the then DF Milan airport, which confirms the craft sighting on their radar. At 13:52, the craft enters South African airspace. The South African Air Force is informed and 2 Mirage jet fighters are dispatched from Valhalla Air Force Base in Pretoria to intercept the craft. Shortly thereafter, the craft suddenly changes its path to a northerly direction. At 13:59, the fighter jets subsequently make radar and then visual contact and try to communicate with the craft with no success. At 14:02, the pilots are instructed to shoot down their craft using their Thor II laser Mesa weapons, first discovered by physicist Charles H. Towns, who designs the first Mesa in 1952. The craft is hit, loses control and falls into a steep downward trajectory and eventually crashes in the Kalahari Desert. The craft remains mostly intact with one of its landing gear deployed, indicating that the craft might have attempted a controlled landing. Only later they found humanoids on board the craft that survived the crash. The pilots remain in the area until a recovery team arrives together with a medical team. The craft, including the aliens, is apparently taken to a military base called Camp 13, not far from the crash site. The craft hatch partially opens and hydraulic equipment is used to pry open the hatch. 2 aliens stagger out. One is injured, the other appears unharmed. There are other reports that there was a 3rd alien found inside the craft, which might have survived. By their anatomy, the 2 aliens are identified to be typical greys. A doctor tries to draw blood from one of the aliens and is viciously attacked, leaving the doctor with deep scratches to the face and chest. Apparently, the alien was defending itself. The aliens also refuse to eat any food that is offered to them. Meanwhile, a team removes the loose technological devices from within the craft, while another team analyzes the strange hieroglyphic symbols inside the craft, and according to some reports, sometime later they identify an alphabet. An American recovery team also arrived soon after, and on the 23rd of June 1989, they relocate the craft and aliens to Wright-Patterson Air Force Base in the USA in two C-5 Galaxy transports, and in turn apparently provide the South Africans with some type of advanced technology. Apparently the aliens had to be kept refrigerated to keep them calm. And then it's also believed that the South Africans didn't divulge that there was a third alien and that was hidden from the US team. Some believe that the third alien was actually still alive at the time. So the aesthetics of the South African Air Force Intelligence Report, checking out the two emblems that are used, and they appear correct. We look at the emblems on the right. Those are the ones that are actually still used today, and those are the two that were included in the intelligence report. So the dates, times and units of measure are correct per South African standards. We look at the date format, 7th of May 1989, so it's day, month, year, and then where they specify their findings, a crater of 150 meters in diameter and 12 meters in depth, so the unit of measure is correct. And then the units of measure later down in the document indicate that the US may have been involved in the creation of this report using yards as a measurement unit. So that verifies the belief that the South Africans and the Americans collaborated on this project. The craft and aliens depicted are almost 100% identical to those witnessed by Patrol Officer Lonnie Zamora in Socorro, New Mexico, with the exception that the emblem on the two craft differed slightly and only one of the landing gear was deployed. Okay, so there's also some important background historical information. On the 22nd of September 1979, a US Vela satellite detects a nuclear explosion southeast of South Africa in the region around the Corset Islands in the Indian Ocean. It's been theorized that the flash was the result of an undeclared nuclear test carried out jointly by South Africa and Israel. The South African Atomic Energy Board, or AEB, also selected a nuclear test site in the Kalahari Desert at the Fostrop Weapons Range. 2 test shafts were completed in 1976 and 1977. So there's a close-up of the Fostrop Weapons Range showing a runway and 2 dirt roads leading off. It is also theorized that the downed 1989 UFO and aliens were taken to Camp 13, located in the Kalahari Desert, near to the impact site. Furthermore, Camp 13 is speculated to be an underground base. I've also discovered what appeared to be aerial craft impact trenches in the Kalahari Desert. There's a close-up view of what looks like a trench left by something that came in at a very low angle and left this trench and came to a stop right there to the top, and whatever caused this trench has subsequently been removed. And then I've also discovered what looked like runways or roads in the middle of nowhere that end against the hillsides deep in the Kalahari Desert. So could these be indications of downed craft and hidden military bases? There's a close-up look of these three, what I think might be runway strips that just end in the middle of nowhere. There's also a road that runs past the right. So could this be a disguised or camouflaged base? Only speculating, of course. And then numerous UFOs have been spotted over nuclear facilities. And a good example is the Rendlesham Forest, RAF Woodbridge incident. And there's a photograph showing the hidden bunkers with this grass planted over the tops. So the presence of these UFOs definitely indicates the aliens are interested in our nuclear capabilities. And for those of you that follow my channel, you'll know that I discovered what looks like ancient Nazca geoglyph type patterns and lines and ruins in the Kalahari Desert. There's a close-up of these 200-meter diameter spirals, snaking patterns, and then we've got these straight parallel lines forming a triangle. And then numerous UFO sightings have occurred at similar sites and ruins worldwide. Former UFO researcher and investigator Anthony Dodd, formerly a police sergeant, did extensive research and investigation into this incident, and an interview as well as the South African Air Force Intelligence Report appeared in a magazine publication of Quest Publications, and Mr. Dodd passed away on the 24th of March 2009 after a long fight with illness. And subsequent to that, two independent researchers, Dr. J.J. Hurtak, an American ufologist and professor of science, there's a photograph of him there, and J. von Butlara, a German researcher, conducted their own inquiries, and both came to the conclusion that a crash landing had indeed taken place in the Kalahari Desert. Furthermore, there is a printed photocopy of a response to a query from Wright-Patterson Air Force Base that refers to a satellite re-entry on the 7th of May 1989, and a confirmation of a fireball or satellite re-entry in the same area on the 7th of May 1989. And the incident was also confirmed by the Thoko Sisu, Botswana's environmental minister, in a 1993 report to the Cape Town-based newspaper called the Argus. It is believed that the Argus replied as follows to an attempt to obtain further information about the article, quote, "The file has been borrowed and is now missing," end quote. I've also approached the newspaper for a copy of the article, and I'm still waiting for a response. Calculations using the locations, bearings and timeframes specified in the South African Air Force Intelligence Report, as well as the known speed of the two Mirage jet fighters and the UFO, show the events described may actually have occurred. So in Google Earth, let's check out the background information around the events first. So in 1975 to 1977, two underground shafts are drilled for nuclear testing in this region over here at the Fostrop Weapons Range, where we can see the runway over there, with some dirt roads leading off in different directions. And there's also what looks like a military base. Of course, I'm only speculating. This is where I found what looked like Nazca geoglyph lines. There's the triangle with these spirals and snaking patterns. So let's have a look at that site where I discovered what looked like runways and disguised entrances. So those are the 3 runways, I think, leading up to what looks like some type of camouflaged structure maybe. And then we go down to the Indian Ocean. To where the nuclear detonation took place in 1979, where there's speculation that the South Africans and the Israelis conducted an undeclared test. This is the Corzette Plateau, these small islands. So I speculate the craft came in as specified in a northwesterly direction over the islands over there, heading towards the nuclear testing site, or the Nazca lines and ancient ruins. As we know, UFOs have been spotted near these nuclear testing sites and nuclear bases, and also ancient ruins. So NORAD detects the object coming in over the Indian Ocean, heading towards South Africa. At 13:45, the UFO is spotted by a naval frigate SA Tafelberg, but also radio DF Malon International Airport at Cape Town, which confirms they also have the craft on radar. At 13:52, the craft enters South African airspace. Also, Valhalla Air Force Base in Pretoria is contacted, and at the same time, 2 Mirage jet fighters are dispatched to intercept the craft, which then suddenly changes bearing in a northerly direction. And based on the speed of the craft and the 2 jets, the area of interest is located right here, 80 kilometers north of the border with South Africa. And if you look at the report, it states that the craft was downed approximately 80 kilometers north of the South African border. So there's 2 places where that could have been, right here, and then up towards the west. At 14:02, the 2 pilots of the Mirage jet fighters spot the craft on radar, and then visually they're instructed to shoot the craft down using the Thor 2 lasers, and the craft descends and crash lands in this region over here, indicated in blue. If you look at the data provided, and you calculate the distance travelled and the speed that is given, it's highly likely that that is the region there in which this craft was grounded. So my conclusion is that the data and information presented in the South African Air Force Intelligence Report appears highly feasible. Furthermore, based on this finding and all the supporting evidence, I'm convinced that the 1989 Kalahari UFO incident more than likely did happen. The evidence is very, very compelling, and the incident deserves further investigation. I'll include the link to my sources in the video description as well. So I hope you found this informative and interesting. If you have any information about this incident, please let me know. You can DM me on my Twitter account or Facebook account, or if you need my email address, let me know in the comments below and we can make contact that way. So, very compelling case. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye for now.